people don't understand about words. Words don't just communicate ideas. Words can create outcomes, but but they're not necessarily always good outcomes, right? In the beginning, God didn't use tools. He didn't use materials, but he did use words. He spoke creation into existence. Think about that for a second. And because you're made in his image, the words you use in business don't describe what you do, they determine what you get paid. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a language problem. They're trying to sell transformation with vague words, and vague words never produce precise results. Today, I want to show you why wisdom turns into wealth through words and why changing your language is often the fastest way to change your income. But first, I want to kind of go through my chat GPT thing. I'm not going to share my screen because I'm kind of actually fighting with it a little bit. It's given me some words that I don't like. And so, therefore, I want to kind of correct it on the fly, but kind of walk through it and do it a live AI workshop. I didn't put AI in the title, but I'm just going to work through it. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Creation is messy. I'm just going to be transparent whenever I create this because I just have come across some stuff lately while doing some reading and scrolling through some social media. I don't believe social media is so the way some of these algorithms work these days. There's a lot of cool information and it's just that it's information that you can use. Not all of it's true, but it can get you sometimes to think. And so, what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes plus is give you some ideas that I've come across that are helping me um, kind of work my way through some really fascinating things in this big, thick puzzle of a book. So people think this is a book of religion. This is the Bible. This version is the New Revised Standard Version. And I've got a King James version, I've got a New King James version, I've got an NIV, I've got a concordance, which I'll tell you what it really helps. And then there's what's another one? Oh, then there are a couple other versions I've got on my iPad. ESV, what's that one stand for? National some ESV and an NASB. My point being, in the translations from Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic into English, there are a lot of different ways of looking at how those words are built and then how they're translated. And if you go back and then you try and take some of the English words and figure out, all right, what did those mean in Hebrew, especially, right? Uh, you can get really lost. But at the end of the day, this book, it's about patterns to learn from. It's all based on humanity. And there are recurring patterns throughout this thing. And then there are some real big puzzles. Some people think that there are contradictions. I don't think that there are contradictions. I think this is, personally, I think this is a book that's, uh, there are no errors in this book. People smarter than you and I have spent decades trying to find errors in this thing that and contradictions. Um, the only contradictions are the ones that are as a result of misunderstanding. But that being said, where was I going with this? One of the things that I was looking up last night was the first mention of the word rich, and it's in Genesis 133, I think. 133. I think that's what it was. I got to get the glasses on because the lighting is in here is so bad. 133. No, 313. No, I don't think that's either. No, doggone it. Where was it? All right, live workshop. Must be 13. I had it. I could go scrolling through here. Here it is, 13:2. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. That's the very first mention of rich. And the word that they used in Hebrew, I'd have to look it up, but it puzzled me because I had someone else tell me it was that rich came from a different Hebrew word. So then I was like, wait a minute. Actually, the word rich, that's the Hebrew word in here in the Bible that is being referred to, kind of meant loaded down with his silver and gold and livestock, his his baggage, if you will, was heavy. So they translated it, since he had a lot of it, that he was rich. And then the next one, that word actually came in rich, was a different word. Anyway, my point being, there's very specific ways of communicating, and the better you are at uh, figuring it out and how to relate and communicate, not only who you are, what you do, how you think, how you behave, can relate to then whether you're poor or rich, candidly, um, whether you get respect or you don't. And it here's why vagueness is not humility. It's unclarity. Uh, so an example. I help people. That's pretty vague. I do business coaching. More vagueness. I help you make more money. That's more vague. These phrases don't create pictures. No pictures, no desire, no desire, no sale. Um, and then here's some more thoughts. And again, I'm just kind of going through some of these things that I came up with in terms of ideas and how to relate them into words, translating into things that folks do. And so what I'm getting at is there are a lot of people that have a very good skill. They're very, very good at what they do. You could think of an attorney, a tradesman, um, doctor, maybe. Yeah, I could even say let's be more specific. How about a cosmetic surgeon? You could have a very talented cosmetic surgeon, but if he's not skilled or has someone that's very skilled in telling folks and demonstrating to folks exactly what it is that they do and why it's good for someone, and the outcome and the feelings that they'll get on the other side of the outcome, then they won't be as well paid as someone who is very good at it, and at the same time is in front of more and more people than the original one. And that could go with anybody. I mean, that you could pick any skill for that matter. So it's not necessarily how hard you're working. It's how you're able to communicate what it is that you do that can determine a lot of income. So if I go back to some of these things here in this outline, um, here's one. Wisdom is the skillful application of truth. Precision is evidence of understanding. Confusion is expensive. When your words are unclear, it reveals unclear thinking, and unclear thinking never produces consistent wealth. Solomon asked for wisdom in the Bible, in because he asked for wisdom and not wealth or long life or his enemies destroyed, he God gave him all of those things as a byproduct of his wisdom. So and and that's just exactly what it said in my outline here. Wealth is a byproduct, not a pursuit. So let me get back through here some of these other things that I'm going to touch on because there's a couple different ones. And then another kind of cool thing that I checked my AI on was it was like, hey, yeah, wisdom always produces wealth. I was like, no, hold on. It does not always produce wealth. And so you want to be careful with some of the things that it gives you and not just blindly accepting some of these things. And at the same time, you want to check it because if you don't, there again, you're gonna look like a fool. But one of the very cool things that it's good at doing is taking a lot of different ideas and thoughts and kind of categorizing them so that I can expand on and explain them. And at the same time, what it's able to do is kind of reference some of the other materials that I have collected inside the AI that allows it to go and do some research, pull some things out, and say, "Hey, this is where you were before. Um, are we still using this, or is there something different?" So, um, the next thing that's in this outline that I have, description versus transformation. Dead words describe what you do. Living language describes what changes, the delta. Um, so there again, dead language. I offer business coaching versus I help professionals stop trading hours for dollars by packaging the wisdom they already paid for with pain. One is a label, one is a promise, one explains you, one speaks to them. Marketing isn't convincing people, marketing is clarifying value. So now here's another tidbit that I kind of came across and kind of extracted out of some of the ideas that I was spitting at this thing. Um, here's the word that means rich, and that's a shear in Hebrew. And in Genesis 14, Abraham refused transactional wealth. He understood alignment was better than deals. And so a shear, that word is stuff, osher, and I don't know if I'm even pronouncing these right, equals fullness, peace, purpose, abundance. I mean, you should see how these things are spelled. If I pulled up and did a screen share, I mean, it looks like hieroglyphics, and maybe it is, but there you have it. So I mean, this is live demonstration transforming an offer. You go from I help people grow their business. I mean, you see that on profiles. Um, you could change that to I help experts turn what they already know into scalable assets so income no longer requires their presence. And then you break it down who it's for, what the problem solves, and what changes after. This is where trust is built. And so, that kind of goes along the lines of the one-on-one challenge that I'm offering. It's a beta test. It may or may not be of any value to you, but maybe you just know someone. But what we'll do is we'll take some of that, exactly as I said, experience, skills, wisdom, perspectives, and if anybody's interested in trying to figure out, all right, can I monetize this? We'll do a one-on-one challenge. Go to the link in my bio or in the description of this video, and we'll see. We'll do a one-on-one 5-day challenge and pull that out. But let me kind of get, before I close this out, there's a couple more points, but I'm just going to try and see if there's something else that I want to spin here. Wisdom is how value moves from heaven to earth. Wisdom is applied truth. Wisdom always produces. Now, see, there's that always. It produces something, may not always be fruit. If wisdom is not producing wealth, it is being blocked at the point of expression. Wisdom that is not clearly expressed cannot be correctly valued. So that's one. Language is the delivery system for wisdom. The marketplace cannot pay for what it cannot understand. Vague language creates vague valuation. And most offers fail. Most of my offers fail because they're not because they're wrong, but because they're unclear. So confusion is expensive, but clarity compounds. So here's another one. Dead words describe services. Services compete on price. Transformation language competes on value. When you describe what you do, you invite comparison. When you describe what changes, what your delta is, you create preference. So, yeah, Abraham understood wealth as an alignment, not a transaction. So did Solomon, I suppose. That was in he didn't want to. I mean, you could look it up. I think that one is. What did I say? Genesis 14. Genesis 14. Is that what it was, Murph? Where'd we go? Maybe I have it already. Genesis. That's 13. Maybe it's 14, hopefully. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's 23, 14, 23. Here it is. Yep. 23. That I will not take from a thread, even to a shoe latchet, a sandal, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich. And that one is a shar, the rich. That's the first mention of money rich. And here's another distinction in this King James version. You know, you wonder why is it thee and thou and ye and no, though, ye and you. It's very distinct in that thee and thou speaks to singularity of an individual. So if how does he say it? Anything that is thine. So in other words, I will not take anything that is yours, who he's talking to, as in singular to that specific person, versus you and ye is plural. Yeah, and that's the distinction. And it's very specific in the King James version. It's tough to read sometimes, but once you pick up on that, anyway, just for your reading enjoyment. But better words immediately reposition value, and language upgrades often precede income upgrades. The fastest way to change your income is not more work, it's better words. So if words create outcomes and wisdom produces wealth, and language is how wisdom enters the marketplace, then changing your words is not marketing hype, but it is stewardship. Therefore, you already paid for your wisdom with time, mistakes, and experience. The only question left is whether or not you're going to express it with enough precision for the marketplace to recognize its value. If you'd like some help with that, do the one-on-one challenge. Um, Link in the bio. Hopefully you have a great weekend. I'm David Bridge Jr. Hope this helps, and yeah, so be it. There we go. Take care. See you next time.